you could share it, then we could have you, yes, if you could, then we can start from somewhere first. But first we get ourselves in order before we start the session. So take your time.
Okay, thank you.
And just share it, then we can start from there. My name is Irene. I'm from Emerge Africa. I'm talking to you from Kenya. So
okay, all right.
All
I
right.
see. I saw the call.
Okay. Oh yeah, it's me who was trying to look for you.
Oh,
Yes.
okay, yeah. Okay.
All right then. Okay.
So what do you want me to do? So
just to try and see if you can share your presentation so that it's on the screen.
I open it up.
Yes, you can. You see there is somewhere at the bottom that asks you to share.
Share.
Yeah, at the bottom of
share
the
this, share
yes.
screen.
Yes, share screen. Yes, then you can
share screen. I open my PowerPoint.
Yes, please.
And then I click share screen.
Yes. Then so what we'll be seeing is what you're seeing. Then we can start.
So okay. Let me do this. Okay. What do I do? Share screen. Share screen.
I can see that people are introducing themselves. Thank you, Tony. We see you from Cape Town. Hi, Tony. Sharon Firi is joining us from Maseru, Lesotho. Oh, you're under lockdown and we are working from home. I think quite a number of people are all working from home at the moment. In Kenya, we are not on lockdown, but we are, where I am, we are not supposed to get out of the county, a certain area. So we can only go inside the county and not go, but I decided to lock myself in. So I'm working from home too. So thank you for joining us today. So kindly, if you join us, let us know where you're joining us from and the situation in your area. Yes, yes, Dr. Shemi.
I'm trying. I'm still not getting it.
Do you see where it says share screen? You just
yes,
click on it. Just click on it and it shares your screen. It should share your screen.
Let's see. Please click open Zoom meetings.
No, you're already in the meeting.
I'm already in the meeting.
Yeah, yeah. So what you do, you see when you click at the bottom, yeah, it's coming. Yes, there you are. Yes, yes, yes. There you are. Do you want to also click the video so that we can see you, Doctor?
Yes.
Yeah, just click on the video so that everybody else can see you.
My screen, I've lost the good one I had.
No, we can see your screen actually. Well, is it? Let's see. No. You're not on your presentation. If you click on your presentation, then it will come on. So when you do now, whatever you do on your laptop, we'll see. So make sure you don't click on things that you don't want us to see.
Okay.
Yes.
That's my presentation. Can you see it?
Yes, you can see it. You need to click on
the slide, the show.
The one that shows, yes, so that we can see the bigger version of it without the clipboard on the side.
Okay, okay.
So that we see one at a time. Yes, there. Yes, that one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we breathe. We breathe in, and then you click on, and then you click on the video so that we can see you, please, if you don't mind.
Video.
You click on so that we can see you.
I can see. I want to.
Yeah.
See, I'm not seeing. All my slides have come, but I want the
Because you
video here.
not on your screen, but at the bottom of the Zoom.
At the
Can you see it?
bottom now,
See where you clicked on the sound.
the sound. Okay, I can see. I don't know why it's hiding on top. Sorry
No,
for
that's
that.
okay.
So
No, because you have to.
Like you said, video like that. I think it will come.
We should see you.
There. Can you see that?
I don't know what I even did with my screen actually. Let me see. You're not here. Yes. Hi. Adjust your laptop a little bit so that we were seeing you. Just adjust. Yes, we can see you now. Just adjusted. No, we can see you. We can see you now. But you need to adjust it a little bit so that it faces you. You see that? If I put my screen up and down, then I can see myself clearly so that everybody can see you. So you need to push it down a little bit so that we can see you better.
Okay.
Yeah. So now you need to go back to the slideshow. Yes, so that we start from there. Good. Good afternoon. Yes, this is great. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Okay. And everyone else who could make it. So as you breathe, as you take a breather, welcome. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this session. My name is Irene. I'm from Emerge Africa. Thank you all for joining us and for letting us know where you're joining us from the chat. This session will be recorded and we are also live on YouTube. We are channeling it through YouTube. So whoever comes later and can also check on YouTube because we'll have it there. Or you can direct people there if they want to. Today we are discussing about educational technology in higher education in Zambia, the challenges and opportunities, and especially at this time of COVID-19. We are happy to have Dr. Ali Shemi. Dr. Ali Shemi is the head of academics affairs in Mukuba University in Zambia. She'll tell us a bit more about herself because sometimes when you introduce people, you might introduce them. So she will be telling us a little bit about herself when she starts the presentation. And thank you so much. As we move forward, kindly, if there's anything you'd like to ask or ask for clarification, please type it in the chat, please. Should we have a bit more time, we can allow each other to speak because we are not so many in this session. So we can actually let ourselves ask the questions, but it's good if you type them in the chat. So I will hand over to you, Alice. Thank you so much, and over to you. Please, you can start now.
Okay, thank you, Irene. It's a pleasure for me to host, if I can use the word, educational technology in higher education in Zambia, where I'm going to discuss challenges and opportunities. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I hope you can hear me. Could I be louder? I hope it's fine. Okay.
We hear you fine. Actually, your sound is terrific. It's very nice. Please
okay, thank you.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. The topic for today, this afternoon, will be on education and technology. I'll try by all means that I don't mix the term to go to e-learning. I want to stick into this lane because most of the times we take it for granted that we know what we're talking about. As of myself, well, for now, I wouldn't want to say so much I think the presentation, I'll try by all means to be clear. Hoping I limit myself to the time that I've been given. Basically, I'm a lecturer or a researcher in information systems, computer science. Sometimes because of research, I also do other aspects like strategic information systems. I'm holding a position which is called Head Academic Affairs because the institution is a new development after being a college of education for some time, for years actually, since 1974. But the government has tasked this institution with science and technology education, and therefore it has attained the university status since 2013. So the position, as you'd call it, pro vice chancellor, whatever. But today I just want to ask to focus on education technology, an opportunity that I've had to interact with in the classroom as a researcher as well. In terms of experience, I've been teaching in higher education for quite some years. I haven't reached 30 yet. I'm almost there. So I've taught at University of Botswana, I've taught at University of Swaziland, Copperbelt University, and I'm now at Mukuba University doing administration, but at the same time being tasked with overseeing the development of the university. So that's where you find me. So I won't come in to say I'm a proponent of educational technology as such, but I'm a researcher as well. So in terms of wanting to understand, I don't think I want to be biased. I want to be as open as possible. So the overview is there. I'm just touching a little bit of a background and also introducing my approach and understanding as to why the things I'm presenting are so. And that's how I'll go through the problem statement, key issues, the research questions, objectives, some aspects of literature review, and how we'll proceed. Permit me to move forward because I'm going to go over the same as we proceed. Okay, so let me touch on introduction and background. I'm taking educational technology not as a sole definition that is given here by Stosich, but there are so many definitions. Let me just safely say I'll be comfortable with this one for now, as a systematic and organized process of applying modern technology to improve the quality of education. So in this case, we are looking at efficiency as well and optimal use of this technology. So as you can see, we can also look at educational technology in the asynchronous and at the same time synchronous modes in academics, where we are dealing with learning, we are teaching, and at the same time we are researching. So what are we saying is it can meet the needs of online as well as regular full-time students. So the demand has gone higher for use of education technology. And as you can see now, almost everyone will be affected with education technology. Most recently, if it wasn't for last month or so, this paper wouldn't have changed. to some extent. But because of this presentation, what is happening now in terms of the COVID-19, EdTech will have to impact many lives, especially those of us who are doing learning. And learning covers industry as well as government and many other sectors. So we have social distancing here that comes in, and possibly we could use education technology as a means of necessitating social distancing amongst the users. So that's how I would want us to have this understanding. And let me begin with these conceptual backgrounds taken from Stosich as well, 2015, where we understand educational technology as a tutor. For example, where instructions are given and they are guiding the user. So education technology is not the learning itself, it is a means to the learning that we want to have. So technology is a teaching tool, and also technology is a learning tool. I also ascribe to the understanding of the socio-technical nature of EdTech, which in this instance will need to be embraced. There are some researchers who have done studies on that as well, because we might be overtaken by running for education technology without considering as to whether there's any learning taking place. So during this time, when there's so much rush to avoid social distancing because of COVID-19, we will have to embed and take on keen interest into the nature of the EdTech that we are using. I wouldn't want to mention a particular one, but it will be important to determine before we implement whatever technology we are using, and ensure that our customers, our clients are being assisted with the learning that they need to have. So let me come back to Zambia. It's a short background. Zambia has a population of 17 million people, and demand for learning has increased. We are also affected with COVID-19. And we have 7 public universities. The first 2, UNZA and CBU, have been in operation since the 1960s. For UNZA, CBU came much later in 1980s. And as I speak, we have universities that have been converted. They were previously colleges of education, and Mukuba University has been converted from what was called COSECO, Copperbelt College of Education, which is tasked with science, technology, and engineering. So we also have the interest of the use of EdTech. Currently, we don't have a formal regulation that is guiding education technology in the public institutions as well as in the private institutions. I am saying currently for the sake of what is documented, but we'll see as we talk, as we discuss what has been taking place so far. So the methodology of this presentation is taking support from past literature and the documents, as we have seen. I'm also borrowing from my individual experience in my research, and knowledge of in teaching, and also the research that I have undertaken in the field, e-learning, and other experiences that I have gathered, especially in terms of the understanding of the nature of technology diffusion in small sectors and small businesses, and also case studies in the higher education. I participated earlier in 2017 on a government project that was looking at large cohorts in public institutions, and how to assist with improvement of accessing and giving learning to targeted learners. So in solving the issue of large cohorts, the issue of education technology came in as one of the proposed methods of improving the large class scenario. So I'm looking at that, and at the same time, I have taught at CBU in the 90s, always teaching large classes, over 300 classes and so forth. I have participated in a NOFIC study where we were looking at e-learning in particular, and trying to see how e-learning was useful in mitigating challenges of teaching and learning, and also research. So that's the background that I would like us to have. So I'm targeting 3 areas: the status of EdTech in Zambia, and I'm looking at the challenges, and I'm also looking at the opportunities. So basically, most of it is a qualitative understanding, and also drawing from my past experience. And we are going to zero in on what is happening now because of the immediate changes that have faced us because of COVID-19. So we are trying to characterize and explore the extent of education technology. I'm trying to also determine the challenges impeding the development. And then also I'm looking at determining the opportunities or strategies that can work in the short term and also in the long term. In trying to look at some of these, especially the challenges and the opportunities, I'm going to be a little bit more specific because I have been in this environment at CBU, Copperbelt University, and also Mukuba University. I'm going to bring in a little bit of some rationale that will be proponents for use of EdTech, education technology, that are coming from literature. Stoshich and colleagues are saying use of EdTech is a must. And I don't think I can disagree with this because of the scenario that we have in hand. And then also we have proponents where we see an increased quality of education. And then also we have an improved quality of learning. We also have instructors' attitude, which is a factor in EdTech adoption and use. So we also have increased learning performance after the use of EdTech, and also a benefit whereby we are seeing our students having increased engagement as they employ these EdTech. I wouldn't go so much into detail, but I will be available to offer more literature should someone want to get more of it. I haven't specifically mentioned what EdTech are we talking about. Deliberately, I didn't want to mention what, because EdTech, as I'm going to give it, are examples that we find in literature. Leading institutions in developed countries have used various EdTech, and based on different circumstances and contextual factors that dictate why they should use those. So what I'm bringing before you are just examples before we go to what befalls us within our scenario. So we have generally articles that are talking about ICTs and how they have been employed in different scenarios. But others were looking at university portals, because around then, it was like if you do or you design a university portal, everyone is going to come on it. It's an EdTech. It does assist to some extent as a reception, so to speak, borrowing from the traditional way of doing things, and then someone can be able to find their way out after they use that university portal. You can also find EdTech being employed as social media applications. We have varieties of them, and researchers are able to see and evaluate those that have assisted. Others are using them for mentorship in various sectors in the educational realm. And then we have Moodle, YouTube, where Moodle is a learning management system, and there are institutions in the country that are using Moodle. As I can speak, we have Moodle at CBU, Copperbelt University. We have it at Mulungushi University. It's a public institution, and also at Mukuba University, my current institution. And mostly learning could be asynchronous if people develop videos which can be uploaded for viewing under YouTube. And then we have institutions worldwide that are using WebCity, Blackboard. I'm just giving examples. As we know, there are many and many others EdTechs that are out and in the offing. We also have MOOCs that are in the offing based on the literature. I have given just an overview. So as we proceed on, I want to go into what is taking place now. I have given a background a little bit about Mukuba University. I'm trying to target the challenges with reference to what we are going through now. I mentioned that the coming in of COVID has automatically increased the interest of use of technology to enhance learning. And currently we don't have regulation on paper, but we have regulation through the phone, where we are being required to employ e-learning. So there's lack or inadequate policy and regulation for EdTech. I was going to stand on this if we didn't have COVID-19. Now COVID-19 has come. The document on paper has not yet come, but there's a push that as institutions, we should be able to use, we should be using e-learning, which employs EdTech. What has been happening is that we've been having challenges with funding to enable us to buy EdTech infrastructure. So we have that challenge, and that challenge is still there now as we speak. And if funding was available, I'm sure EdTech infrastructure would have been an improvement. Then we have poor culture. The culture of EdTech deployment. What I am saying is, on one hand, a higher office, regulatory offices expect you to automatically switch to e-learning. So that's what I'm calling a culture of lack of understanding of what takes place if you want to use EdTech under the e-learning or social distancing scenario. So we are lacking that. And as Mukuba University, we still challenged in that scenario. We also have challenges with internet. And we have intermittent power supply. I've changed this day, load shedding has been on, so I've changed. Since morning, I've been able to change twice from an alternate power supply to the main electricity power supply. So this can be a problem to run some of the EdTech equipment, and it will be a problem, especially our students who are far off. I didn't mention that we have students who are regular, and we have students who are on the open and distance learning mode. So whatever happens to them, that side, it's in terms of power in the rural areas, that impedes their development. We also have illiteracy issues. I've tackled a little bit. You can find them under culture, but you also be able to appreciate them under this aspect, which I'm trying to call as illiteracy. There's a lack of understanding of what EdTech is. People still think because you have the equipment, then learning can take place. Now, having looked at what we have covered under the conceptual background, the reminder is that that lack of understanding is an illiteracy issue. You need to explain to people what takes place after that infrastructure EdTech has been installed. They need to appreciate that. And then we also don't have, as I speak, because we've been going through a transformation period, we just did part one of recruiting. We recruited about 100 teaching and support staff. And we are yet to embark on another phase of doing recruitment. And in that case, then we'll need instruction designers to assist. So that shortage of staff means that certain areas, especially for instruction design, to be able to use the EdTech in the right way, these areas are still suffering for our institution. So again, I would say, hello. Following the EdTech without understanding the background of the technology is a big problem in our environment. I would read it, and sometimes it takes time to be able to appreciate. Now, when I'm getting calls from the higher officers to say, at what level are you in using e-learning? I'm able to see that actually they just want to find out, do you have internet? What items do you need? They do not appreciate that EdTech needs to be embraced as a whole concept in the learning so that people can appreciate that it is a means, it's not the ultimate of learning itself. So because of that, for Mukuba, we have opportunities that we can employ. Obviously, we have seen because of the global issues taking place now because of the pandemic, the regulation is an opportunity that has already been seized. Suffice to say, even if these things are challenging, everyone is affected with COVID-19, but at the end, we can see that we are going to move to a higher level, and that regulation which will come, it will find that we have moved from level 0 to a higher level. So there's need also for us to have an improved online access. Currently, we have few hotspots, and we have staff locations that are near the premises. The area that we are covering for the institution is about 109 hectares, and which is quite a big location. So staff live somewhere close to the premise of administration and lecture facilities, so they could be able to enjoy the facility of online access. Actually, as I speak, it looks like there's an open window to assist. We've heard there's also a requirement that we need to just explain or give a directive of what we need, and such things will be provided. So I would talk about the lack of funding and lack of equipment because of the global issues. Most of the needs that we said we need, they seem to be actually being solved. But should I say rural areas, students all over, they need assistance with alternate power supply. And there's solar power other than depending on the hydro. I should say that though I didn't mention, there should be more of collaboration efforts amongst our institutions. We have not collaborated in trying to share EdTech knowledge that could benefit our various institutions. We are mostly disparate in terms of EdTech employment. So I think there's need for us to go in that direction, and especially advanced digital technologies. Now, I'm able to, I can even dream that in the near future, not the way we used to mention the near future in years, we are talking about just in months' time, we should be able to delve into other big research innovations, such as IoT and artificial intelligence and robotics and many other facilities. There is need to have continuous training of staff and academics. And I'm hoping that we are going to get more and more assistance in this area. And then also the opportunities that we are seeing and we are learning that others are using, we are able to use them even here, even just the use of Zoom. No one thought they would be able to use Zoom, but here we are now, we are using it, and various other tools for research and so forth. I've brought up this tool as one of the my last slides. There's a traditional face-to-face scenario, and then also a non-traditional face-to-face scenario, and how does it interface with EdTech? The one on the top left, non-digitized, and it's a traditional face-to-face. So in this environment, EdTech must be embraced in a way that it should enhance learning. But we've been able to see that our scenario is no longer in allowing traditional face-to-face. So traditional face-to-face does not fit within the paradigm that we are in now. Our contexts have changed all of a sudden. We used to enjoy this scenario, and most staff actually, especially coming from the general education background, have stayed in this scenario for quite some time. But things have changed all of a sudden. So I would say we could move to the fully digitized and in a traditional face-to-face. These two environments do not agree with each other. We have social distancing because of COVID-19. So it will be difficult to embrace it fully. So in that case, that would not work. No matter how much equipped we are with educational technology, it must sit in a paradigm that fits the context of that scenario. So our scenario is almost the same. I'm looking at the other white one on the bottom on the left, the non-digitized and non-traditional face-to-face. Non-traditional face-to-face means we do the lecture method where one is giving instruction and the students are listening depending on whatever truths are coming from them. That environment is not advisable and is not working, and it's not the norm in our lives now. So I go to the blue one. I've shaded it blue because I believe this is the environment that we are in now. And we want to achieve that because of the EdTech that we may employ. I would say that Mukuba University is using Moodle because that is the cheap method that I could say called versatile, and it has already been installed. It has already been working for some, but most staff are still undergoing training. So we have a fully digitized or approaching that kind of scenario, and we are trying to see if we can have a non-traditional or non-traditional or non-face-to-face, because social distancing is going to allow us to avoid the effects of COVID-19. So that is the environment that will suit us now to provide event training. And I'm hoping that we are going to have everyone coming into it, although at the moment, we still have to train. We still have to bring an understanding of what is this EdTech and to what extent can it assist us, because EdTech is not in the learning, is not the learning, but it is a tool that is helping us in the learning. So because of that, we are also employing other means of trying to mitigate the challenges that we have. I want to thank you so much. I think that is the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shemi, Dr. Ali Shemi. Thank you so much. That was a wonderful, wonderful presentation. We have a few, I'm going to give a few people the mic, but before that, there's a question from Tony, and he's asking, what does non-traditional face-to-face look like? Because you mentioned that. And then you said in one of the opportunities that you're going to do is MOOCs. Are you going to use MOOCs that have already been prepared by others, or are you going to put together your own MOOCs? So those are the two ones before I let two of our participants take the mic just now.
Okay. Like I described, let me start with the non-traditional face or face-to-face, non-face-to-face, or I'm saying none. This is a scenario whereby, coming from the background where we've been looking at traditional, meaning that the students are depending on the lecturer to search for the material, prepare lecture notes, and then come to class and deliver the lesson. The students are fully dependent on the lecturer to deliver the lecture material, and then the students are waiting. At the end of the day, even the exams are going to be given in the face-to-face mode. That is the lecture method. That is the one I'm calling the non-traditional or non-face-to-face environment. The other question you asked, okay, in terms of the MOOC, there's a plan. It's a government-led plan, which is still in the cooking, where it's going to be run through the ministry to allow already prepared material in certain fields that are supposed to be offered through that platform. It's going to be a national plan. It's not through this institution.
Thank you. I think there's quite a bit of MOOCs that have been prepared. Perhaps you could have a look at that and see if, to avoid reinventing the wheel, I hope.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then we have Gabriel. Gabriel is from Zambia too. He's asking, should teaching online and remotely be done by a whole institution or piloted by some departments and schools before scaling up? What is your take on that? Should it be done?
Should it be done by? Come again?
Should it be done by the whole institution or piloted by some departments and then scaled up?
Okay. I'll move from what I've understood. I know where Gabriel is coming from. I'll just give an example of what I've experienced. I know institutions like University of Botswana has had a section or a unit under CAD, Center for Academic Development, which is called, they call it EdTech. So EdTech is a unit that will assist with bringing together instruction designers. Instruction designers are performing a different role as opposed to the one that lecturers are doing. So at the end of the day, it's instruction designers that are mediators, because they are going to ensure that whatever material that you want to give to the students, that material is ensuring learning is taking place. Most of us who are I can say, let me give an example. If one is in a certain department, for example, of mathematics, their interest is to make sure that they dump the material without actually ensuring that one has learned that. The scenario is different if now you have to put material online. So yes, I would support the model where you have an institution, a section within the institution which is tasked to organize EdTech, to organize the development of materials. And for example, in our case, we have regular students and ODL, open and distance learning material. So you need an organization-wide structure within the whole university or college that should assist in handling this particular role. That's what I think, because of my experience, and I think it has worked well, and I've learned a lot from that.
Okay, I hope that answered the question, you, Gabriel, if you're still there. Cindy is thanking you, first of all, for the presentation, wonderful presentation. What is your university doing to ensure that educational technology initiatives include students with special needs? Inclusion comes in now.
Yes, it's a good question. We are learning to include that. We are learning to include that. We are still, I can say, on the crawling part, but it is a very important area to include. One of our staff has trained with Braille, and is also specifically going to be included. We have an institution-wide EdTech e-learning team, and that person is there. So like I said, I didn't give much information as to in what way we found COSECO when it was a general education institution where some infrastructure hasn't yet even complied with students with special needs. But we are slowly changing that. We've had that consideration with regards to the EdTech, and especially with regards to EdTech, it's an area that is of research, but at the same time, we also want to look at how others have done it so that we can employ it in our setup.
I think the next two you could take together, it's about policies, e-learning policies in the universities, and also the efforts being made to embed EdTech in teacher training in Zambia. So I think that goes kind of hand in hand a bit, because it's about policies, what is being done. So you could tackle that. I'm looking at the time because we have 8 minutes, so I'm trying to make sure that we include
policies.
Yes, please.
What policies and so forth. I hinted that policy hasn't been there. And in fact, we are just taking proxy policies here to try and bring in what needs to happen. I didn't want to come to come so specific because Gabriel is on the other side. I don't want to be reported. But what I can say is that indeed, we don't have policy. And looking back, like I said, we are taking a proxy policy because COVID-19 is there. And we are not doing it alone because we are fully supported. I could have loved to show you how many memos are coming from the ministry trying to find out whether we have this and we have that. But it was not so before the COVID invasion. It wasn't so. So now, what is happening in terms of policy? We are hoping that people in the ministry, the government persons can expedite that, so that we are at the same level in the improvement of EdTech. As I speak, we also have an ZICTA, which is Zambia ICT Authority, Regulatory Authority, which is very keen actually to ensure that EdTech and possibly aspects of security, they are put into place in institutions. So what are our institutions doing? What is happening in the Zambian scenario? I can say, on one side, I would want to support that, though it's a lemon support, because of the coming in of COVID-19, we are seeing a lot of changes coming up just like that. But from our experience, policy has been left aside, but the responsibility has been also on the side of institutional leaders. Institutional leaders in higher education authority, in higher education, and higher education authority as well, they need to take first-hand interest in the whole education process. That includes EdTech as well. But it hasn't been so, like I'm saying. That's why we find we can have graduates, but in certain areas, they are not able to use one or single tools that are cardinal in their area of specialization. So that is something that needs to be guarded against. We need to ensure, especially as institutional leaders, we need to guide policy formulation, or possibly even remind our government officials on certain areas that affect learning, especially the EdTech issue.
So I'm thinking you've gone through a lot. You've been there with everything happening, and now we have COVID-19 that has changed a lot of things, where everybody's coming on board. What is two of the things that, what advice or two things that you tell other institutions to look out for? What would it be, the two things that are the most important for you?
I think number one is training. Training about what EdTech is. Training, institutions need to train, need to inform what is going on, so that they can allow changes that are taking place, dramatic changes that are taking place, to be well understood and accepted before EdTech or learning can be given out. We are seeing a situation whereby people do not understand and they are feeling the pressure of being driven to the edge because of the changes that are taking place, but they do not know exactly where. So I tend to think there's need for a little bit of patience to allow people to acclimatize in this new environment, and also to guide on how the new way of teaching, researching needs to be done. Because much as we have leaders, some do not understand what needs to go on. There's a paradigmatic push that's going on. And not many people understand how they need to go. As we are talking, different groups of within the university are affected differently, and we need leaders who should be able to understand and communicate what should go on than to push people to the extent of letting them miss what is going on in terms of EdTech. I'm looking at a situation, Irene, where you can dump all the information and put it on whatever platforms you are having, but no one knows exactly what they've learned. So we risk that coming up, and it is time that we kind of like slow down and engage with the learners, try to understand these learners, what do they know and what do they need to know. So the needs, understanding of each, based on the needs, then we give information pertaining to what they need, give training pertaining to what they need, and then also run through in a processual way the whole process of learning, because it is different. The learning that people are using with we've been using in the face-to-face is rather very different from the online where EdTech is coming in more often than when we were using face-to-face.
Thank you very much. We are coming to the end. I think we will push the other questions and the other discussions to our Facebook page, which is Emerge Africa, and encourage everybody to join us. We have come to the end. Thank you very much, Dr. Ali Shemi. We appreciate you. Thank you for a wonderful, wonderful presentation. I'm sure we've learned a lot from what you're going through and during this time. We hope to have you again. I hope you make time for another session, like a follow-up of that. So we hope you can make time. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming. And we hope to see you online. We'll have more webinars as we move forward. We actually have a feedback form. We have shared the link. If you could kindly, for everybody who was here, we have that link. Please evaluate or give us feedback about the webinar so that we can make the others in the future a bit better, and we can use that to, to share it with others. So please, we thank you, and we thank everybody who's been here, and have a good evening or a morning. I don't know what kind of time everybody has. And please stay safe. If you're on lockdown, please stay in lockdown. If you have to stay at home, please stay at home so that we can beat this COVID-19 virus. Thank you very much and have a good evening. Bye for now.
Thank you.